I'm going to read something I wrote about depression. And if you can relate, I'm sorry. It was almost too dark to make out the shapes and colors of my new home when I arrived. I even paid a little extra for the earlier flight to avoid this very thing. I'm a little romantic, so of course I wanted the big move to be cinematic, flying into the desert for the first time, sighing at a blooming cactus, the blindingly blue, cloudless sky. Instead, my flight was delayed slightly, unceremoniously, certainly unromantically. The man next to me kept sneezing, somehow for hours, and my headphones ran out of battery. So the plane began its descent. All I could hear was the hum of the engines, the rustling of the flight attendants collecting snack wrappers, and the rhythmic sneezing of my seat partner. All I could see was a dark ridge floating in a murky greenish sky, and I was choked for half a moment by a sudden dread. I knew that by coming here, I was risking my fantasy by making it real. In that instant, I began to feel myself losing the safety of daydreaming to an uncontrollable reality. The night before I left for the desert, I dreamed that I peeled off all my skin so I could grow more. I was quite pleased with my work until I realized I wasn't alone, that some ghoulish entity had been whispering in my ear and convinced me to do it. My new skin shone, pink and delicate, as it creeped into place. I felt it wasn't my skin after all, since the ghoul had tricked me. I began to squirm, but I was cemented to the bed. The specter appeared by my side, eerie and mocking. I belonged to her now. She assured me that it was worse than I thought, that she had trapped me long ago. Not even my thoughts were my own. They never were. I woke up clammy with sweat, upright in my bed, contacts fried onto my stinging eyes. I could move now, but I didn't want to. I didn't dare. The tingle of fear was still bubbling in me. The spring months roll by, revealing an ugly, hot summer. Well, I'm learning a lot, I tell myself. Like that the place I work for hasn't updated their website since 2004, or that somehow it's on me to deep clean my washer and dryer. Ultimately, I learned that even in the desert, I can hate myself. Typing a phony memoir chapter on my couch, listening to Pearl Jam. Christ. Fucking miserable. When did I start saying Christ? I watched 4 episodes of The Sopranos last week, and now I say Christ. Christ. I call my mom and tell her I've been busy lately. It's true. I have my very own email address for my very grown-up job. I broke up with my soulmate, again, although we've never actually dated, and I can't stop crying about that. I've been getting a little high almost every night, and some days, just so I don't feel like my neck is gonna spontaneously throw my head off my body. Bloody, bloody mess. I don't know, I tell her. I guess I've just been really busy. Christ. I came home from work the other day and found a sticky note in the blank space in the elevator where the license is supposed to be. It was just a yellow sticky note with a huge question mark on it. The next day, someone added in purple-colored pencil, "Where the fuck is the license?" And the next day, in bold black Sharpie, "Ask Matt Truman, he's the slumlord who owns this dump." I learned he comes to the building sometimes in fancy clothes and designer glasses. I looked him up, and all I found was an article from when he was 17 years old. He was interviewed about a gruesome murder that happened in his neighborhood. I'm thinking about this when one of my neighbors steps in and chats with me about the notice we got the other day, that the maintenance guy died. "I heard he was in the hospital," she says. "So they fired him, and now he's dead." She shakes her head and then shrugs. We ride the rest of the way up in silence, thinking about how now there's no sticky note in the elevator, and no license either, and the maintenance guy is dead. One day I turned my AC off just to see what it feels like to sit inside an oven. What began as a morbid curiosity turned into a strange meditation. We were made to be porous, I realize. Light cutting through, sound waves bouncing, bumping alongside all the gunk in the air. We have grown to be disembodied, made up of whatever we say we are, since there's nothing else to determine it. Just your word against mine. We're obsessed with how we seem because that's all we are, it seems. On good days, it feels nice to think of myself this way, just a soft floating vapor, wriggling around in the air, kept alive by luck and the kindness of strangers. On good days, it makes me laugh to think about how serious I can be, how real my dreams feel in the moment. Of course, they're less embodied than the self, just a trick of the light. On bad days, I'm in agony. Without a body, all that's left is sensation. Sometimes the sensation is nothing more nuanced than a sharp, pointed pain. On bad days, occasionally, I'm in love. Not like Hollywood love, but the sad, sickly variant that turns you belly up and kicking. If I'm withering away like this, I think to myself one morning, I might as well write the next great American novel. It would be so romantic. Like the mad women before me, the mystical suffering, growing wisdom in a face turned taut from hunger strike after hunger strike, fighting nobody, wailing in isolation. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? I'd be just like one of those charged up heroines in the lesbian period dramas, speaking only with sharp looks, tits hoisted, layers and layers of skirts falling around me on the floor as I drop to my knees in despair, choking on my womanliness, the unseemliness, tossing crumpled drafts in the trash, setting it ablaze. An inspired last-ditch effort at fulfilling some purpose before jumping into the fire myself. Fictional agony is so alluring. I almost laugh thinking about how sexy depression can be, as long as it isn't real.